Here we will learn how to make a new application with Android Studio, and this version that I have is 3.2.1 in this moment. So go ahead and click Start New Android Studio. We are working with Kotlin. Okay, so we will just call this applications is navigation bar. We just call it nav, and I will save this into my desktop. So I will save it in my desktop. Okay, and when you change this, make sure you include your file name, which is in my cases I call it nav. So we call nav, then next we choose API 19, next. Then here we are working with a bottom navigation activity, which it's really useful when you are working with multiple page and you need to have on your screen when it's loaded. So we will choose this bottom navigation activity. Then we say next. Main activity is okay for the main activity, and if you see here, we are making our navigation application. Just we have to wait for it until it will load. Android Studio, they have a tip of the day, which is really useful, that help you to learn new stuff which are available in Android Studio. Right now, if you we have to just wait until it will complete the processing this application. After that, we will be ready to start doing our work. Okay. As we see, the application it loads perfectly well, and if we look at the main activity XML file, we have a navigation button bar, which includes 3 of them: home, dashboard, and notification, which always it will come like this. Make sure you have 3 at least navigations button to use this, or 4 or 5, depending on your applications and how many main screen you will get. So if you are looking at the resource and you come to the menu, and you will be able to see the navigations, and we have 3 navigations. If we go to the text, we can see this 3 navigation, right? So the first one is home, the second one is dashboard and notification. We can change anything here. We can even delete something here, but whenever you delete something, you make sure you have delete on your Java application file as well. So in our case, if we go to the Java and if we go to the main activity, we can see in here we simply put 3 message inside here, which is one of them called home, and one of them called dashboard, and one of them called notification. So how we can change this message to see different pages, which we can done this with a fragment. So fragment is really powerful. We will talk about fragment in the future, how you are working with and how you are accessing the context from the fragment to the main activity, because every applications have their own context, which context is get from the activity, and each activity they have context. So what we will do here, we will make 3 fragments, and one of them we will make it for home, one of them I will make it for notifications, and one of them I will make it for dashboard. Let's start with home. then what you have to do, you have to click, then you will go to the new, then inside here we have fragments. We will go with a blank fragment, and make sure you will not include the interface callback for this kind of fragment. Then we will name it, for example, home. Okay, and finish. Every fragment have their own XML file. You can work with it, and we have to just wait until it will load. So when it's load, right here we have a home fragment, so we will remove this part right here and like this, delete it. Then we will delete this part right here as well, because we don't use any of these. We just need to load this fragment into the main activity when we are click or when we are push the main button. So we don't need any of these parameter, so we will delete them. Okay, we don't need to send anything from here to there. We need to have a separate activity, which in our case is fragment. Okay, let's make another 2 fragment for dashboard and for the notifications. So we will come back to the fragment. We will do the same step, not include this, and this one we will say dash for the dashboard. Next, the same thing, we will going to delete this part, and we will going to delete that part, and also we will going to delete this, and going to delete this. Okay, and we don't need any parameter in the new instance. Okay, then we will do the same thing for the third one, which is notification. We just say naughty. Okay, and click here and finish, and remove this part. Come on, sometime when the Android is load this kind of thing, this will happen. Let's remove this guy and remove this guy, and we are almost there. There you go. Now what we will do, we have to go to the main activity fragment. In main activity fragment, if you see, we have a home text here. Instead this text, we will use a fragment. So what we will do, we will delete this. Let's open up this part and make it a little bit bigger, and we will look for the fragment. So we need a fragment layout, and this fragment layout, it's always this 3 button will leave. Okay, let's just open here and connect it to all the side, and finally we done, and we're good. Now this fragment, we give a ID, so we can use this ID to call whenever we click each one of these. So how we do that, we just, in the ID we can just call, we will call it frag under dash container. Save. Now we have a container to put our fragment inside. So we will go back to the main activity. If you see here, it's a red because we delete the message, if you remember. So remove it here. Make sure you will not have any red, because red, it will give you an error. Okay, and at the end we will make a function for using whenever we click, and a new fragment will pop up. So we will say func, let's say launching fragment, and open close bracket. Here we need a fragment to make sure, or just let's start with whenever you will ask main activity to load a new fragment, you have to begin with transaction, which it will pop up the fragment. So how we do that, we have to call the support library, support fragment management or manager. Then here we will start with begin transaction. So when we begin transaction, we need to replace this fragment container that we made before with a new fragment which we have. So we will call a replace. If you see here, we have integer. The int is come from the ID for one of these kind of stuff. So the integer is we need is r dot id dot, we call it frag, if you remember, container. So we will choose the frag container, but still we have something else which is fragment. Here we can right away call fragment, or we need this because we have multiple button when we click. So what we will do, we will use a parameter here. So we will say fragment, okay, of type fragment. Make sure you will choose the fragments Android support.4 app, okay, and here we will call this fragment. Every begin transaction, they should have commit. So at the end we will say commit. That's all you have to do here. Now inside the first one, in the navigation home, we will call launch fragment, and we will call the fragment that I want. If you see here, ask for the fragment. So the fragment for home is home fragment, right? Then we have a new instance, so we call this as well, and we do this for all of them. And the second one, we call it dash for the dashboard, and new instance. Also we have the last one, which is, we call it naughty fragment dot new instance. That's all you have to do, but make sure inside here you will include one more of these launch fragment, because when we are opening, we need this activity needs something to create inside the onCreate before you push any button. So here we will call this, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Play your project and it should work. Then also you can start working with different things inside the each fragment, which we will talk about later. Okay, and that's all you have to do to manage the navigations button. So whenever you need to change or whenever you need to add something, all you have to do, make sure you will make the navigations one more navigation. Then inside the activity you will copy and make a new ID and a new button. Simply you can do that easily. Okay, that's all you have to do to launch or to work with a navigations button bar. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.